Howdy everyone, and welcome back to The More You Grow. I've been growing a root vegetable that's pretty uncommon compared to your average potatoes, carrots, radishes, all that good stuff. I'm growing Jerusalem artichokes. I'm going to be talking about what Jerusalem artichokes are, how you can use them, and how you can grow them for yourself. So let's go check it out. So you may be wondering, what is a Jerusalem artichoke? Well, I have to tell you, they're in no way related to artichokes or from Jerusalem. Jerusalem artichokes, also known as sunchokes sometimes, are in the sunflower family. As you can see by their stems and leaves, they are very similar to sunflowers in look. They actually produce clusters of beautiful yellow flowers that are very sunflower-like. They have the ray and the disc flowers, and you will be able to see they are related to sunflowers. The pollinators absolutely love the flowers. But the reason why we grow these are for the tubers. Jerusalem artichokes are native to North America. They grow in many different states and areas of Canada because the Native Americans traded them quite extensively for their little tubers. They're a great source of starches. They have a little bit of sweetness to them and have a great kind of artichoke or water chestnut flavor to them. So they love to use them. And that brings me to my next point. I want to kind of give you a warning about Jerusalem artichokes. You may see them by a different name online if you search for them. Sometimes they're called Jerusalem artichokes because they contain a carbohydrate called inulin. In small quantities, inulin is a wonderful thing. It's a good prebiotic because your gut microbes love to use that. They can break that down, and it's a wonderful source of food for your gut microbes. And so it makes you healthier. But in large quantities, those microbes are using up that inulin as a food source, and a byproduct of that is things like methane, and we all know what methane becomes in our bodies. In large quantities, they can cause discomfort and different areas of things like that depending on how sensitive you are to inulin. So I would suggest, if you're going to try these, do it in small quantities first until you know how you react to it, and you can kind of build up a tolerance to it if you start eating it in small quantities and build up to it. So just wanted to kind of give you that warning. If you look at that online and you see something like that, it's not a big deal. Just kind of play it by ear as you go if you want to try these out. Another thing I want to bring up on that note is be careful where you plant these. They are quite prolific. So I would say plant these in a raised bed or a large container until you know if you like them or not, because once you plant them somewhere, they're there for pretty much forever. They produce so many little tubers that you'll never be able to find them all, and it takes even just the smallest tuber can start a new plant the next year. But that's kind of what I like about these, is once I plant them, they're just going to come back year after year after year. I don't have to keep replanting them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant them in a raised bed over here, the only raised bed that I'm keeping, and I'm going to just let them go. Going to plant them in there and see how they do, and that way I can just have a continuous harvest of Jerusalem artichokes throughout the growing season. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to get these planted and talk a little bit more about them as I go. So let's go check it out. So the first thing I have to do is I have to clean up this raised bed. It's going to be the only raised bed that I keep. If you saw in one of my previous videos, I'm saying goodbye to the rest of the raised beds just because they're not doing it for me, and I've got things to move on to and bigger and better places to plant. So we're going to be keeping this raised bed, and I'm going to plant this in Jerusalem artichokes because there's many reasons why I want to do that. Well, one, they're hard to control once you plant them because you'll never get all the little tubers out. Jerusalem artichoke is a root crop. It has tubers, and so the tubers are what you harvest, but you'll never be able to get them all, and so you'll always have some left over and they'll keep growing. So the best way to grow them, if you don't want them to spread or you don't want to have a big Jerusalem artichoke patch, is to plant them in a raised bed where you can control them a little bit better. So what I'm going to do, we're going to clear up this raised bed. A lot of this is just hay that I put down to try to keep out some of the weeds, and it did a pretty good job. Look at this. This is all pretty easy to manage under here. But some of this in the back is that dreaded Bermuda grass. I hate this stuff with a passion. So we'll be trying to get all that out the best we can, and we'll try to clean this up a little bit. So I'll give you a look once I get it all cleaned up. Alrighty guys, so I got the raised bed all cleared out. I cleaned out as many of the Bermuda grass runners as I can. I know I didn't get them all. You'll never get them all, and that's okay. But think back for just a minute. Try to remember what I planted in this bed last summer if you saw the video. I'll give you a few minutes. All right, do you remember? If you do, you'll remember I planted gladiolas, and look what I found inside. A lot of times they'll say gladiolas are annuals, and that's partially true, partially not, because sometimes they'll hold on and be perennials. So I've got gladiola bulbs. I've actually got quite a few of them that I dug out of there. I'm going to be planting them back, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant them around the border, and then we're going to plant our Jerusalem artichokes. And speaking of, let me show you what those look like. So here's a large Jerusalem artichoke tuber. I actually pulled this out of this long raised bed right back here. I actually have a whole bucket of them. Look at this. Some of them are already sprouting, so that's why I'm planting them now, because look down in there. Some of these are already starting to sprout, so we got to get them planted. I'm going to dig these out of here. Once I get them dug out, I'll show you how many I got, and we'll plant them up. Alrighty, so let's try to dig some of these out of here. And kind of like a potato, Jerusalem artichoke has numerous eyes on it, so multiple places on here starting to sprout. So this one I'm going to split into 2 pieces. So to plant a Jerusalem artichoke, you want to plant it about 4 to 6 inches deep and about 1 foot apart. So we've got a lot in here. I don't even know if we're going to be able to put all these in here, but I'm going to dump out some of the soil to try to see what we got going on here. Okay, so we've got one little piece here. We'll kind of separate them out, get the best pieces. Some of these are sprouting big time. Let's see what we got in here. So some of these are like this. They've got sprouts growing on them already. So we're going to try to gently get these out of here, but we'll see what we can do. A lot of these are ready to go. I'm surprised. I dug these up, I put them in this bucket for safekeeping, but they decided they were going to grow whether I was ready or not. So we're going to try to dig these out of here in one piece. Look at that, some of those are growing big time. Whew, we got a lot, guys. I might have to find another place to plant some of these. So let me get these out of here, and I'll give you a shot of this once I get them dug out and see what I've got where, because we've got a lot going on down here. All right, guys, we've got quite a bit now. So let me kind of show you what we got going on here. We've got all of these that we got to get planted. So I'm going to get to it. We're going to plant these 4 inches deep and about 1 foot apart. So I'm not even going to worry about dividing these. You probably could. You could probably divide these kind of like you would a potato and get more sprouts out of it, or more pieces, but I'm not even going to worry about it because I've got a lot of them here that are like this that I don't necessarily need to divide them. I'm probably not going to have enough space for the ones I've got. So we'll give it a shot. We'll see. So flash forward about 1.5 months and check it out, guys. We have a small forest of Jerusalem artichokes coming up here, and they're going to get much taller than this. I can't wait to show you when they start to bloom. They're so beautiful. I also came in here and planted a few other things. I have borage growing in here that I planted. That's a wonderful herb that you can use. It has a kind of a cucumber-like flavor in the leaves, but I'm growing it for the flowers. Bees absolutely love borage flowers. It's probably in their top 3 favorites. And I want to use those flowers in some of my other projects that I want to try. So I'll show you when that comes along and kind of keep you updated on that. But for now, I planted all this in here. We're just letting it grow in. I can't tell you how many wonderful little beneficial insects are living inside of this. It kind of made a small ecosystem for all these little beneficial insects. So I'll keep you updated on this, and when it comes time to harvest and when it starts flowering, I will show you all of that. But until then, if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you have any more questions for me on how to grow Jerusalem artichokes or how to get them planted, leave it down in the comments. I'll try to answer it for you. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to go check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and hit that bell icon for notifications here on the channel. And until next time, I hope you'll join me right here on The More You Grow.